Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to the Voorhees Township Committee meeting of September 14th, 2020. Please rise and join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United
United
States
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Peproy,
Present.
Mr. Platt,
Here.
Mr. Ravitz, Ms. Nacito, Ms. Nacito,
I'm here.
Mayor Migdona.
Here.
Yes, you-
You ready, Mayor?
Yes, Howard. Thank you.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. This meeting is being held in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice has been published by the clerk in both the Inquirer and Courier Post newspapers. Also, a copy of the annual meeting notice is posted on the bulletin board outside the municipal clerk's office. In accordance with the new legislation, 2020 C11, this meeting is being held virtually without a physical presence in accordance with state law. We are also recording this meeting. We should be aware of that fact. And other than that, we are ready to proceed, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first matter this evening is the first reading of an ordinance amending the 2020 fee schedule. Do I have a motion on the first reading of that ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Our next portion is the public portion for resolutions only. If there's anyone from the public that has any comments on any of our resolutions this evening, please join in.
If the members of the public could use the raise hand feature in the Zoom meeting, we have one resident.
Unmute, Kate.
There she is.
Okay, Kate Delaney.
Is there anyone from the public that has any comments on any of our resolutions this evening?
We have one resident. We're trying to get their audio.
Hello.
There we go.
Hi.
We have
Hi,
Kate
Ms.
Delaney.
Delaney.
Good evening.
Hello. I don't see me up there on the video. So you just have audio?
I see her on video. I see her block.
We only see your name, Ms. Delaney, but we can hear you.
Okay.
There she is.
There you go, ma'am.
Oh, hi.
Thank you for joining us. Would you give your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is not Kate Delaney. I don't know who that. It's not me, but my name is Kathy D'Angelo. But I think someone else who gave me this link may want to be in here as well. It's
So you corrected on your name on our Zoom feed.
yeah.
What can we get your address for the record, please?
Sure, my address is 11 Country Lane.
Thank you. And your question on the agenda, we do have two public portions. One is just with regard to the agenda, and then when we go through our resolutions, which is typically relatively quickly, we have comments from the public on any topic. So we have two separate portions, just so you're aware, ma'am.
Yeah, you have the portion on the LNG is the installation, which I wanted to bring up. So, okay, I'll just mute out here until you get into another portion here.
Okay.
So nothing on the agenda that is of interest to you. That you have something separate from the agenda is probably a better way to say it.
Yes, on the proposed LNG installation that is going to be here proposed for South Jersey.
Okay.
But
Well, we'll get to that when
I'm
we get
gonna-
to,
Yeah.
when we get to the general public portion. You're more than welcome to comment on that.
Okay, all right.
If no-
Okay,
if no
Okay,
one has
I'll
any-
hold that comment. Thank you.
okay.
Okay.
I'm going to put you back down to as attendee.
I will make a motion to close public portion for resolutions only. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public portion for resolutions is closed. Our resolutions this evening are resolution number 169-20, memorializing an executive session from August 17, 2020. Resolution number 170-20, authorizing the tax collector to issue duplicate tax sale certificates pursuant to NJSA 54:5-52.1. Resolution number 171-20, approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant agreement with the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission under the Competitive Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality Improvement Program for the Evesham Improvement Program, Evesham Improvement Road, Pedestrian, and Bike Lane Improvements for access to Ashland Padco Station Project. Resolution number 172-20, approving change order number 3 for the 2019 road program to DeMeglio Construction Company, $30,732.25 decrease. Resolution number 173-20, awarding the Sturbridge Lakes Pump Station force main replacement project to Polari Brothers Construction Corporation.
So I don't, okay.
Resolution number 174-20, awarding the bid for the rehabilitation of sewer pipe to Swerp Inc., $229,270. Resolution number 175-20, awarding the bid for bioxide to Evaqua Water Technologies LLC. Number 176-20, awarding the bid for a 2021 or newer refuse truck to Mid-Atlantic Waste Systems. Number 177-20, authorizing an agreement for real estate tax appeals to Blau and Blau. Resolution number 178-20, rejecting the RFP for the Voorhees Town Center redevelopment Phase 2 project. Number 179-20, renewing membership in the Camden County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. Resolution number 180-20, certifying the 2019 audit. Resolution number 181-20, renewing 2020 and 2021 liquor licenses. Resolution number 182-20, amending records of the tax assessor. And resolution number 183-20, accepting the resignation of Rebecca Bagos from the Voorhees Township Police Records Department. Do I have a motion for approval of those resolutions?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. There's no need for an executive session this evening. Next will be approval of our minutes from August 10th, 2020, our CFO's report for August 2020, our court administrator's report for August 2020, our registrar's report for July 2020, our tax collector's report for August 2020, the treasurer's report for June 2020, treasurer's report for July 2020, our bill list for August 24, 2020, and our bill list for September 14, 2020. So I have a motion for approval of these.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Except for abstain from all, sorry, I just have to, it's Nocito abstain from August, to just abstain from that.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Any comments from our committee this evening? Our final portion is our public portion. If there's anyone from the public that has any questions or comments, please join in.
Could any attendees please raise their hand if they wish to make comment? Again, please use the raise hand feature if you would like to comment.
It looks like Miss D'Angelo's name is no longer on the list, but the original name that she was logged in under is there. I don't know if that's her.
Mayor, do we just want to give a few minutes just to afford the opportunity, since we know
Sure.
she didn't speak? In
Sure.
the interest of transparency, we should provide that opportunity.
While we're waiting, I just wanted to let you know I got a message from Mr. Ravitz. He was dialed in and was getting oh, there he is. Never mind.
Welcome, Deputy
I
Mayor.
think he's having
Ravitz.
audio issues.
I can, I can hardly hear anybody, so.
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
I heard that.
Again, I will open it up to the public. If there's anyone from the public that has any questions or comments, please join in.
And will our technical specialists advise them again, should they wish to speak, how they would go about doing that?
Yes, please, if you'd like to make public comment in the Zoom application, please use the raise hand feature, and then that will signify to us that you wish to make comment. We have one.
There we go.
Promoting them now. And we have
Hello.
Hello, sir. We have you. This is Mr. Long, the township solicitor. If you would identify yourself and give your address for the record, please.
Hello, Mr. Long, and members of council. My name is Dennis Gormley. I reside at 11 Country Lane in Voorhees. We've resided here for 25 years. Before that, we lived at 210 Green Ridge and 605 Evesham, having resided in Voorhees Township since 1978. This is the first time I've come before the meeting to speak something, but I believe it's of a urgent and very important
I can't hear
nature
you.
at this point. I would like to, if I could, share with the, I don't see, usually there's a chat window here. I'd like to share with the board a pair of resolutions that have to do with environmental issues impacting Camden County in general and Voorhees Township in particular. The first resolution would call for the we call it the Delaware River Basin Commission to review its decisions and its decision-making on the transport of fracked LNG from the Wyalusing fields in Pennsylvania down to the facility in Gibbstown. Now, this may seem, you might ask, what would Voorhees have to say about this? What's the skin in our game? Well, the proposed routes for transport are down the rail line along the Delaware River, but also along 295 by truck. Now, the LNG, the liquid natural gas, is gas that has been frozen to under 200 degrees and takes up in storage less space, so that if there is a breach of a container, it will expand over 6 times its size. A problem with a truck coming down here on 295 could call for an evacuation of over 2 miles. And as I'm sure you're aware, there are several areas of Voorhees Township within 2 miles of Interstate 295. there's not been a lot of discussion on the safety of the rail cars and trucks being proposed to use for this transport. Liquefied natural gas is, for all intents and purposes, once it explodes, takes just a tiny spark to do it. Once it explodes, it cannot be extinguished. You know, I mean, I have the utmost respect for our first responders and firefighters, but typically in the case of a breach where even if it doesn't explode, the cloud that it emits can flash freeze people. It sucks oxygen out of the air and can asphyxiate people. If it explodes, there is, for all intents and purposes, no way to put it out. The only question is evacuation. Now I know Voorhees lies within these what we could very well call blast zones. All right, so I have the resolution. If I cannot submit it via a chat window like I usually do in these types of meetings, I can drop it off with the township clerk tomorrow, or if you want me to email it to you for your perusal, I'd be happy to do so. The other resolution has to do with the Camden microgrid sustainability loop. As you're probably aware, in Camden, the trash to steam plant, which many suburban municipalities have been using to get rid of their trash, has really reached the end of its useful life. At this point now, the people in charge want to extend its life and create this new what they're calling a sustainability loop. This will just, and the trash to steam plant has been spewing pollutants and toxins in the air, and depending on which way the wind's blowing, we're breathing that. Okay. Now, both of these issues come together in terms of, environmental justice. At this point, we're seeing lots of news about environmental events that are occurring. We see the wildfires out west because of the heightened temperatures due to global warming. We see the increased ferocity of storms. Hurricane Sandy, of course, many parts of New Jersey are still feeling the results of that. My own house is situated immediately in front of the banks of the headwaters of the Cooper River. So anytime we have one of those storms, which I can see the water coming close to my house. It hasn't hit yet. I believe it's come over the 100-foot, what is it, 100-year flood line. But each year it comes up a little higher, and almost all of these have a direct connection with our use of fossil fuels, which we should be moving away from. I know there has to be reliance on them at this point, but further reliance on fossil fuels has to be avoided at all costs. Now, the only last point I would like to make about the fracked LNG is that these materials, this liquefied natural gas, will have no economic impact on New Jersey at all. We will not see any benefits from it. It is not being sold. It is not being transported for sale in New Jersey. It is being transported to Gibbstown to be loaded on tankers and then shipped overseas. They're running into a problem there because two of the markets for them were Puerto Rico and Ireland, both of which have recently denied permits for the building of terminals there to receive the LNG. So I want to thank the committee for listening to me and bearing with me. If you want to give me an address too, so I can email these proposed resolutions, I'd be happy to do so. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to stop by the township clerk tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Gormley. You can certainly email it to our clerk. Dee, do you want to give him your email address?
Sure. My name is Dee Ober, and the email address is clerk@VorhesNJ.com.
VorhesNJ.com. Okay. It's almost like my address.
Thank you, Mr. Gormley.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Gormley.
so much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public who would like to make a comment this evening? Please join us.
We have one more. One moment. And she should be online.
I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Ms.
Yeah.
Riggs. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Janet Riggs. I'm a resident of Voorhees. I live at 13 Battery Hill Drive in Voorhees for the last 26 years. I would like to speak about the liquefied natural gas as well as the microgrid. Training or support in the Voorhees Township has not been provided for the emergency or first responders to accidents, fires, explosions, derailments, or other emergencies related to liquefied natural gas transportation. The absence of such assessments and support prevents the appropriate management of and avoidance of accidents, derailments, catastrophic events, health harms, and environmental damage that could occur from the transportation of liquefied natural gas through our communities. There has been a derailment in the state of Washington. I don't know the outcomes of that, but I only bring it up to point out that it's not just a hypothetical situation. I'm asking the Voorhees Township Council to call upon the members of the Delaware River Basin to disapprove of the Dock 2 project and to call upon the state of New Jersey to transition away from fossil fuels by taking all measures possible to prevent the transportation of liquefied natural gas by truck and or rail through New Jersey, and by conducting a public health and safety analysis, a quantitative risk assessment, and a comprehensive environmental review of the potential impacts to communities and the natural environment of New Jersey. I would also like to mention that last week, the Delaware River Basin Commission took a vote and actually voted to issue a stay of implementation of the construction of the terminal in Gibbstown for the transshipment of the liquefied natural gas, allowing extra time to study the issue. And so I think Voorhees should be on the right side of history, so to speak, but should be supportive of that decision and work to move away from this type of chemical coming through our community. The other thing I would like to say has to do with the microgrid, and it's more personal. I agree with the things that Mr. Gormley said about the microgrid in Camden. I'm not real happy about the way it seems to be getting financed, like maybe we don't even need it. There should be other methods of dealing with our trash that are closer to green methods. But when I have asthma and when I go to Kentucky to visit family, my asthma symptoms go away. And as soon as I get back to New Jersey, my wheezing starts up again and I have to resume my steroid inhalers. So since air flows from the west towards the east, Voorhees is downwind from that trash to steam plant. And I think that trash to steam plant is polluting the air that we breathe here in Voorhees. And I would like to see better ways of dealing with our trash and the pollutants like mercury and arsenic that are spewed into the air from that plant. And I think there's better ways of doing it than the way the microgrid is currently constructed. Thank you very much for your time and allowing me to share my thoughts.
Thank you, Ms. Riggs.
Thank you.
Any other comments from our public this evening?
We have one more. One moment.
Hello?
Good evening again, Ms. D'Angelo.
Hello, sorry. I'm back.
I'm not sure if you gave your address earlier or not, but if you didn't, could we have your address?
Sure, it's 11 Country Lane in Voorhees.
Thank you.
And I'm primarily here this evening to just to be a voice in the chorus of people who are concerned about the safety of putting an LNG facility down here in South Jersey. Was it about 12, 15 miles from here? The safety of these facilities is just, it's a nightmare waiting to happen. The impact on the environment, should there be any kind of a leak, any kind of issue with leaking of these vapors, either during transport or at the facility itself, or while tankers are being loaded with this, all you have to do to actually verify how dangerous this material is go to Google and type in LNG explosions. And you will see a history, a long history of the disasters that can occur that would make an explosion, like recently in Beirut, you know, on par with that kind of an explosion. These explosions, fires cannot be contained, they cannot be put out. They are disasters that are waiting to happen. And besides just loading this stuff onto tankers, you have rolling bomb trucks, trucks coming in and transporting this cryogenically sealed gas, compressed gas, along highways, through towns, on major highways into these areas. And then it has to be offloaded onto tankers. Now, there is a big LNG facility down in Savannah, Georgia. Regulations, environmental regulations down south, as you know, are not nearly as stringent as they are up here in New Jersey. And you know what the Coast Guards own ways to deal with this? Their priority, Coast Guard on site in Savannah. If there is an LNG disaster, their number one order, very first on the list, is order the evacuation of all Coast Guard personnel from the affected area if there's a leak and an explosion. That's the response of the government, is to get everybody out of there because the fires and the explosions cannot be contained. When they wanted to put an LNG facility off the coast of California, the environmental impact statement, this was going to be 14 miles away. with tankers out 14 miles off the coast of California. When they were going to want to put that there, the environmental impact statement said that the fireball from a tanker, a leak from a tanker that would catch fire because of the way the vapors run, the impact of that would be 30 miles. 30 miles. It would incinerate everything in its path, crawling over water because of how that gas actually moves. It's the laws of physics for LNG. I just implore you, and thinking about how this could actually impact Voorhees and anybody in South Jersey, when you're thinking about this, whether you want to have our town be impacted by this, the laws of physics, really, trust me, go to Google, type LNG explosions. And when you look at the safety data, even from the Department of Department of Energy, their own safety reports from 2014, I believe it is, clearly state, when they talk you into how they actually tried to run a test of, you know, how safe it would be and what would happen in an explosion, just read about how they had to actually create the test site, how much concrete had to be poured and pipes had to be made so that they could make a safe test because this stuff is so volatile. That's from the Department of Energy itself. I don't care about like the end result because of this controlled test, just to contain the stuff that they were going to test and then the explosion was phenomenal, how they had to create the test site. And we're going to have trucks coming down 295. We're not, making concrete walls around these trucks to contain the possible explosion. They're going to be rolling on wheels. So that's just my concern. My husband's already spoken here. He's, I'll just add to his thing. I'm just terrified of the impact that this is going to have from people who are saying in the industry how safe it's going to be. If you start to read some of those test studies about how the tankers have to be created and how, double hulls and all of this. And, and there would be no problem with a tanker. The likelihood is very small. But you know what? When that ship was in, where was it? In the Gulf, and the ship that, the terrorists that attacked a U.S. naval ship, double hulled.
Yemen.
With their little boat.
The USS, that was the USS Cole.
That's cold, yeah.
USS Cole.
This little boat created a huge gash in this boat. You did something like that on an LNG tanker, 30 miles around that tanker would just be an inferno. These things are the perfect terrorist target. I don't even want to think about that. We just went through a 9/11 commemoration. Why would we want to put that target right outside of Philadelphia in this area? Okay, that's, I could go on and on because this just riles me. So I'm just here to echo what Dennis said and some of the other folks. It's a disaster waiting it would be a major catastrophe for this area.
Well, thank you very much, man. We certainly appreciate your passion, and we appreciate your thoughts and information. Thank you. Any other comments from our public this evening?
Anyone else, John?
I'm not seeing any.
Seeing nobody, move to close public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Public portion is closed, and we are adjourned. Good evening.
Larry.
Yes. Here.
Did you guys, when I couldn't get on,